officers that I'm pretty close with. He knows him, and he said, I'm the one that does it. There you go. So he's a really good guy. He might be a different one or a newer one because I know that he switched roles recently, but he's a great guy and he talks really well. He's pretty charismatic. He's got a son in the Air Force. He loves doing this type of thing. So it would not be difficult to get him to do something like that.
Awesome.
His name's John Villarreal, and I had his support.
Okay.
He spent a lot of time on the SWAT team. He did with other
Do we want to have him come out to the first S.H.A.C meeting? And if there's something he'd like to present or at least review with the group, what he's willing to kind of come and talk to us about. If you don't mind sending him to tell him, hey, if he can make it to the first S.H.A.C, we'd love to have him come on the agenda and we can go from there.
And what the meeting, I know I have it in my email.
Meeting.
It's like Thursday, October 17th.
Yes, that sounds familiar. Sorry, I've got my first DIC
I
meeting
know,
Thursday, so I'm
my
like,
meetings start to run together, the same thing, so I'm like, no.
yes.
They all start.
I have to have like separate calendars, just to make sure I'm not missing anything.
Can we do an introduction, because I don't really know.
Yeah. So like, this is kind of like not the typical way we usually start S.H.A.C, because we usually start S.H.A.C with like a meeting and then do introductions, but because of where we left off last year, our fourth and final meeting, it was recommended by that S.H.A.C group at that time to move forward with human sexuality curriculum and instruction review. We did our first public hearing last Thursday, didn't have any public speakers. It's round two, since it's part of the requirement, we're just having a second one to see if there's anybody that's going to show. And since it's already been kind of 10 minutes and so far no one, we'll give it like 20, 30 minutes and then probably call it a day.
Oh, okay.
But as far as introductions, would you like to start us off?
My name is Melissa Soto, and I'm the counselor here, one of the counselors here. This is my first year. That's why I needed to just
Yeah, I was going to say something. This is Ms. Soto. I was going to say, since we're talking Kingsville, if you had any experience in TAP with presenters or just good information when it comes to, student health, student wellness, whole child development.
We used a lot of Post-Med Wellness Foundation, there's a lot of areas for the student. We also used the gal at ESC2, the social worker academy, off the top of my head, but I see her in my head. But she did a lot of presentations at us. We used Coastal Plains, NH4.
Yeah.
They did a lot of stuff with us as well. Appropriate Door, of course.
But I keep hearing the purple door like it's no more. There's no more purple door or something. Is that true or not? Or are they just like reducing their?
I think they're just kind of taking. They reduced a lot. I don't think they were getting a lot of. I was gonna say yeah, but last year we've been recommending this, and they've been coming a lot more because
Not
I
because
think
it's not, they're not really well.
right. They're still there.
I always heard if we had good experiences with or maybe second high school.
And they branched
I'm
out.
not here, by the way, I think you were in Reese, Watkins. Hopefully you don't see her often. But you might. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Partnership.
Yes. I'd say the middle school's the one that's really taken full advantage of the partnership. Also, wellness, we use them, planning, we use kind of the same.
Yeah.
The same with the vendors.
We have the same resources.
Yeah.
And then we get
Is that
Careful.
is that the woman hope or
Circle
circle of care?
No.
I did sign today the MOU for Elevate 361, so I think that's great. And all this stuff we're talking about for those that are new and maybe are unfamiliar, all that's going to be recapped in our first meeting. So we'll do a recap of last year. We'll do some introductions and just sharing as to kind of stakeholder and kind of what is your interest in the Shack and what do you bring to the table as far as either your experiences or just some of the things that you'd like to see addressed through the Shack. And it can really be any topic of your choice. Some of the requirements that we'll definitely look at some point in the year will be the district wellness plan and just reviewing that plan in particular, and if we need to make any updates or want to see any changes made to just district wellness for students, and that includes everything from like food and food service all the way to school safety and just how they feel and just the overall school experience itself. So that'll be one topic we can kind of really explore into detail this year. Drug and opioid prevention, we'll definitely hit that topic. Fentanyl, we'll definitely set something up district-wide, and hopefully in the month of October, since October is usually when that gets recognized. And also in addition to that is like the suicide prevention month in October as well.
No, it's next month.
Is it September?
Yeah.
Is it, what's October?
October is drug awareness.
Okay.
Yeah.
But September is suicide.
Suicide
Okay.
awareness.
Okay. That's why I gotta have all my calendars with everything telling me what's happening each month. But yes, we'll hit those topics in October. We'll review what we did in September, but in October, really focusing on the drug prevention piece, since I feel like this is a good year for that, and also just there seems to be a good time. I think the campuses would respond well to something that we can put together for them for that. So,
I did send you the link that I was talking about that was here locally. I sent you a link and it shows their services and their programs, but I think they do a little bit more than what they just. It's, anyway, they're here local, in terms of helping us provide parents guidance and, information about like,
Narcan.
yeah, and the use of Narcan, but then also just like opioid addictions and alcohol and substance abuse addictions and how we can recognize that. So if you look under the different programs, but the manager there is actually I'm trying to. I looked too quickly, but anyway, it might be worth a contact to them to just say, we know you've been at the ACC or y'all provided the program at the ACC. You have one you can offer middle school parents.
This group is South Texas Substance Abuse Recovery Services, S.T.SARS or S.STARS.
You have the contact information?
Yeah, I sent him the website and I was trying to just get it changed. It didn't list their manager. I gotta get her last name. I forgot her last name. And it just recently changed. He just moved. Kaylee is her first name and I gotta get her last name.
That's okay.
That's a part of her
It's
practice.
not
But
a
anyway,
big
she's
deal
just
every day.
like,
Yeah.
she's just like a brand new manager because she took over for like a couple of other people that ended up leaving and going to a different part. But anyway, she's the person I know from through a contact at ACC.
So
And
if
they
you
came
get
last
speakers
year.
that time, we have to go to the check or we just report it to the check?
It's really kind of reporting to the Shack. It's generally, it's not going to be someone that hasn't already been through the Shack. If you have a concern that they've never been through the Shack, then we can kind of officially, I guess, induct them into the Shack so they can present and get them on record for presenting. But you just have to, you would just need to check. But Marquez could really tell you, since she's been around long enough to know kind of what's been done and hasn't been done. So she's actually a good resource for that, because she even reminds me of some things that have been done. So she's really good at knowing all that. But we usually don't have any problems. You can kind of do what you need to do. But it's something that you want to kind of bless with the Shack, and just make it official, fully transparent. It might be something new or hasn't been done in a while, then that would just be my recommendation. And yes, the curriculum that's being recommended, choosing the best curriculum is available to look through if you'd like to, or ask any questions. And again, all this curriculum, kind of the plan for it to start would be sometime in October.
Through what, who's going to be sales?
We have an abstinence coordinator who will come in and provide those.
Through the advisory group?
And it depends on what Pilates is. I think the last time we went, we met and she talked about doing your PE classes or like classes.
I think she said
I think probably going to be the best option.
And it's an opt-out?
Yes.
How long does it take to get through the group?
great question.
Right, what you say.
It's kind of all up hard, like it depends on what you want, you can customize it.
Based on how often or.
So it could be like it's 3 weeks, it could take up to 6 weeks, it could do a whole semester, so you can break it up in 2
But
semesters.
they come in and present,
Yeah.
not us teachers during the week. If you just have to set aside. That's how we work.
And you?
See, and that was really that was my question. We would probably need to, first of all, before we move forward with how we would do it, we would discuss like best strategy. If PE is the number one choice, we have to discuss the minutes and make sure that's not. Yeah, well, we're just in compliance with what the policy requires us to provide student instructional PE minutes per week.
She said even if it's once a week, it's just how we work it out. They work around us, so it's not like we can work around
What
us.
about the college and career class?
Yeah, that's advisory. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we
And
have.
that's where I go back to maybe we need to create like an activity schedule where once a month or twice a month, probably we want that schedule to run. That's, you don't compromise it.
Right.
That's what I do.
And how is advisory coming in?
Yeah.
It all depends on how fast you get through the lesson, and then,
But I think if we did it,
yes. And it's
Well,
a lot
still
still
take
down.
the second year.
So basically, it's 20, basically, second grade is extended.
Yes.
but I think it would be wise to consolidate, like, have set days to consolidate the, like, the sixth graders and the seventh graders and the eighth graders, to consolidate them, you know, like, 6 weeks, 1 day a week, or whatever it can work out to consolidate all the sixth graders, and they get there, say, on Tuesdays for 6 weeks during advisory, because otherwise we have to have a person
Yeah.
from them for every single class period.
Right.
But if we consolidated, like, all the sixth graders on Tuesday, or
But how effective
for
would that
20
be?
minutes, once a week, or whatever we decide, I mean, we have to get the, you
Yeah,
know, and then,
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
but they're
not all
gonna opt in. But, yeah,
But the majority will. Yeah, you're talking, that's two
Well,
kids
that's
for
what
one
we
person.
well, no, I know,
They wouldn't
but,
be effective.
Well, that's why they were talking about shorter, like, PE class. And like, because we have ladies that come on Thursdays, and they take that class period on Thursdays for PE. So we just kind of working around them too, like,
Just
you know.
making sure that they're doing that.
Yeah, because they come in every Thursdays, and they do a specific lesson or activity with the kids. So, and a lot of the lessons that are in those books are hands-on. So they wouldn't be just sitting there, they have to, you know, do an activity that can trace to wherever the lesson is.
and so they would just be run through their sixth period PE, or their sixth grade PE class, or their seventh grade PE
Right,
class,
whatever
or
class.
their eighth grade. But then how does that, how would we capture the athletics kids?
The other,
Yeah,
the other thing that we have to consider
And that's why you maybe want to try to run like a alternative schedule so that you're not losing out on a group or
Right.
students for schedule conflict, not when it's critical time. And that's something.
Right, yeah,
you're
you're
forward, but definitely revisit that with those RS and
Right.
because at some point, when we meet.
part of your guidance from that.
Like when we meet, make sure the first time that was something I would want to have
I guess once we,
you have a group to make sure that it's good and it doesn't need to do
This is how we
yeah, we need to
Yeah.
figure out.
And I know, our trainer would be, the one to come to the instruction. I know she does it in Goffstown, she does it in Cal Allen, they do it in Corpus, so.
She's housed at West Oso, so Stephanie
West Oso.
is housed at West Oso, but she only works with West Oso and TM. Like, those are two campuses she works with. So she has to work around that campus and our campus. And then as to Joanna, she does the other campuses. So there's two of them, they just kind of break.
Gotcha.
And what's their ideal class size?
She's done it to where she's done up just a classroom, and then she's done it where it's like a full assembly. So they've done it. It's
Yeah,
how we
I-
want it to set up and how we want it to work out is how the.
Her instance was, I can do whatever you need.
Yes.
That's why it was so, Bob, we really will do. So it's really nice. I wouldn't say stick her in the gym with 600.
I wouldn't, I mean, I've done that, and I'll do that again, so I wouldn't recommend that, so. That was my mistake, make sure I know. I mean, I had all the teachers there. I mean, they were.
No, I know, for middle school, I think there's still some of that under, not wanting kids,
Right?
That's what we're doing. Something is TikTok videos. Yes, that's what gets their attention.
I know.
hearing it.
Good, and that was what they respond to, I don't understand it, but that is the new way of doing things, yes. Everything's in 5 to 10 seconds. For
Yes.
As long as that, they're.
What is she using spray? Oh, I know, I don't know. I might have heard her, but I haven't, but I don't think she's spray.
Okay, well, I'm my daughter just texted.
You're on video.
See
See you, everybody.
We'll hang out on 10, 15 minutes and then, just start gearing up.
Hello, I'm doing good. Hanging in there? Yeah, barely.
It was nice meeting everybody.
Thanks for stopping by, so. You too. Yeah, on to the next job. I assume you just get back from your other job.
Yes.
How was today?
It's a little crazy here. We have probably like, I think 8 meetings.
Everyone's also itching to start their session, like now.
Yeah. Well, we still have our safety, which is
I can imagine.
just not enough hours in the day. I have 8 meetings today.
And that's how it is over here too. It's like, we can't even schedule stuff because for the next 2 weeks, we're all booked. It's like, when are we supposed to meet? We can't, even if we wanted to.
Yeah, that's the trouble.
That's crazy right now.
We have to do T-test training tomorrow.
T-test and stuff.
Yeah.
At some point, we're gonna contact you guys for your T-tests, since I know that's something that's changing this year. That's the meeting I was trying to schedule with everybody, but we don't have, no room for it, but we'll figure it out. But the principals have communicated with you guys about that, right? Maybe
About,
just T-tests in general, like just the general, like it's gonna be T-tests now this year. It's eventually you're gonna need to do an orientation training.
so not really.
Maybe tomorrow, but since I knew they went today to that, so
Oh,
maybe they'll
he
be
was
there.
done all day today.
Then I'm sure when he comes back, he'll probably do
We'll go down.
That's right. Hopefully nothing's changed since I remember it. There's some requirements there.
Well, I'll say, I would think this is I'm redoing this, like, I don't think it's a test. I mean, I've got all the check boxes.
Yeah. You'll check that box this year for sure.
That'll be,
So maybe this is off topic, but I definitely want to get y'all's kind of just take on this. What is the thought that comes to mind when you hear parent code of conduct? Is that something that when you hear it, you're like,
Like a
oh my
game.
gosh, we like absolutely need that? Or you hear that and you're like, ugh.
Well, no, I think we do,
What is
we're
that?
getting it, it's like, and you're getting, we're getting it.
Y'all are gonna laugh. The first thing I thought was like Copper Valley PTA when you said that.
That's funny.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do, but I was like, you guys are old enough to know.
I'm an old soul now.
I love that song, by the way.
Yes. So
That's
that's the
right.
first thing that popped up whenever you said
Hey,
that. So.
by association, I understand.
I think like, we could also, as an administrator, we could use some clarification on what's expected when we go to games. Because I know I've approached people and I guess what I expect is like too high compared to what they expect.
You're saying your expectations for our parents are too high?
Yeah, like, honestly, so I was a band director before I was an administrator, and the band world's just a lot different from athletics, right? You go out to a game, I think our parents, some of them, expect to be able to say certain things. And to me, it's just like, it's really obnoxious to me. In front of kids, I mean, if it were a major sporting event, it probably would be fine and we would do it, no.
But because
just
we're dealing with
there's
students.
no- I'm just like, if I would call the kids on it, and even if they were there, I'm not dress coding them at
Yeah.
athletic events, but I expect for their conduct to be appropriate in front of other parents, because it's embarrassing to have kids saying certain things in front of parents. And I expect the same from the parents, and I feel like, boy, I've just gotten some anger, like at some of the events, when I say, hey, warning, warning.
Yeah, nothing was as bad as it was during the COVID times, though.
Well, we didn't have games in COVID time. I mean, you could just mute.
See, I always forget, like, because in PM, we weren't quite all the way back. Like, when I was, before I came here, and it was during that COVID period, like, we were out because it was, the whole state was locked down. But after a couple months and the summer was over, like, we all went back to school. Like, the first day, we just returned. It wasn't anything. Like, no one even said anything. It was like, we had some remote learning for those who, like, absolutely had to be remote, but everybody went back to school. Like, all
Yeah, we had
all
kind of
the-
a hybrid for a little bit.
But it was during that time where I was like having to deal with like, post-COVID world, but also having to comply with all those requirements. Trying to deal with the parental part of that was one of the most challenging things I've ever done.
Yeah, I think we need some clarification with just behaviors, and safety,
And the reason why I
And
bring
then-
this up, because there was a mention at the board meeting last night that they were inquiring if that would be something the district was looking into, or the district felt would be something that they felt like we needed to kind of putting something together for that.
I think our parents here would never probably have ever been exposed to those incidents where, we know what happened.
Yeah, here's the reason why we're having
Like,
something.
here's
like that.
why we've manned this parent. You can't throw stuff at a staff member.
Right.
You can't cuss and stick the finger out in
Well,
front
there's
of
more little leagues
kids.
and stuff that are going to that at least have signage. I know that
Yeah.
football has it, I think Louisville has it with their signage that says these kind of behaviors not tolerated. But if she calls somebody on something like that, is that going to be stuck to what she says? Like, you're not going to be able to do
And that was really my
How much hell are
question.
they going to be able to raise and say?
Well, and also just the knowledge, right? Just knowing, okay, if I come to this game and I cuss or at the ref, or if I say even something inappropriate to the coaches,
Yeah.
I'm going to be called on it. And if I get called on something, I just need to let them know. We need to have an argument there.
It's the right to well if there is
Well,
some kind of altercation.
and I think
verbal
they
or-
don't.
And that's the key, is that
But, I mean,
through this parent code of conduct, if you want to call it that, I would then say, well, to me, it's all about educating the parents as to the why. And based on what you said, because of the consequences and some of the things that maybe we're not fully aware of, but if we do. Right. Exactly. And that's how
Right.
serious of an issue
I think some people
BYLs
don't
are
have
dealing with.
When I buy some sporting event tickets, you
Yeah.
have to click a box acknowledging some of these rules and things. So if our tickets are sold online, it seems like that would be feasible. They read a short.
Say, we told you what.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
said.
You signed it.
Yeah, not so
Follow-
much that you read it, but you
So
signed
that-
for it.
Right.
So when we're asking you to maybe take a two-game timeout for cursing or whatever, they can understand, oh yeah, that was that box.
I would maybe bring some examples of schools who have photographs, schools who won't.
Oh, yeah.
And are not able to participate because of.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, that is. But not only just in that sense, like if they go up to the school because they're having a meeting and they start cussing and threatening, we have someone who threatened to go to another parent's house.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just craziness.
If you can
It'd be
think of
nice
it,
to
it's
have a
happening.
parent code.
Yeah.
But you think that it needs to go without saying? Think we
Oh,
need to have
it
it?
doesn't.
Signage.
It has to be said.
Set
Set
an
up a hearing.
expectation that it's there.
It has to be said.
And then so like on that topic of like parental education, and just parental training, is there anything else like as a topic of S.H.A.C for like drug prevention, suicide, anti-bullying, anti-harassment, teen dating violence, just that whole gamut? Is there anything in particular that if we ever created a focus topic or wanted to have like some parent labs where we're offering like 30-minute like virtual or in-person training sessions where come and learn all about how we handle teen dating violence? Would there be one topic in particular that if we could offer that, we would probably see like a good turnout because parents would be interested and what we would have to say about that? Or just, I need to know more because maybe I am struggling.
To go.
Yeah, say, assume there's,
I mean, it was a high school did something with it last year, the year before, and it was all day Saturday thing.
Do they do-
Different classes. and
were they doing drawings?
So that was our
And
first
there
Title
was
I.
drawings,
That was
but
our first
it
Title I,
was
and we had drawings.
very low attended, even with that, it's sort of like.
We had 5 drawings
oh,
and 5
it was
people
that.
showed up, so we got some dog prizes.
Well, and that's the thing, it's like, how do you make it worth your time to do something nice and intentional so that you do know you'll have to turn out? Is it incentives or drawings where they raffle off something and everybody's a winner?
Yeah, and it's,
A lot of
and
parents
it's,
out there won't.
meals are provided too, like some of the meals provided. Because some people, they do come and they have littles and they don't want to bring their kids because they're gonna be hungry and running around, so, yeah, so, we, yeah, that one is breakouts.
I think if we did something, kind of like the way I think about attendance, so when you do the incentives, like, I think you should consider the whole school when you're doing it. Like, for attendance, you can target like the top, the better attending kids with incentives, and then maybe the lower order with, like hours. Like, we have a lot of kids that have hours, so we could even tie this into credit recovery hours.
Yeah.
But like, and then you have your punitive, like people that we don't get punitive for this, but like
Yeah.
thinking about the top, the middle, and the bottom, like the ones that don't even come to school, like how do we get them involved? The top tier, high performers, but high attendance, do we have something incentive-wise for them? Like put them in raffles and put
Yeah.
something, and then the kids in the middle, like, those are probably the kids that really are concerned about the issue at hand. And we really target them with like the information, like educate them that we're even gonna have this and what it really is gonna be, that we're gonna discuss. And maybe something to like get parents there. Like for the hours, when we did the drug, for attendance, we did a DAP thing with the guys that brought in, they were talking about, addiction and how to get help and all of that. So, I doubled their hours if they brought a parent.
Is that, let's go back to the vaping where if kids are they're getting popped for 8 pot, do their 15 days as their first offense. Is there anything that we're doing, I know this is a reactive measure, but are we doing anything educationally that's a requirement since you either first time you do 15 days plus, you have to do some volunteer, course or hours where you're going to do 2 hours worth of mandatory
So
training.
we really
Yes, or
need
internal
is
education where you have to go with your parent. Like it's
Yes.
it's +1 where you have to have mom or dad with you. There needs to be a log you sign that, indicates you did go, or to produce a certificate or produce a record of some kind. And it can't just be from you, it's also got to be with your parent.
What we need to do is a discipline RTI program. That's what we really need. We need to put it in layers and scaffold it and put some curriculum in there and have it available, have training for the teachers in DAP, have teacher training at the school level as well, so that we can have that positive, well thought out intervention. So that's that's what needs to be from the top down.
So at other campuses, they have a curriculum that's built in with the DAP. So whenever they're APAP for whatever
Right,
reason,
and that's-
it's a curriculum that they have to complete too, as much as, reading or
And that's going to be another topic
Yeah.
we address this year is just further strengthening our curriculum through our kind of corrective action, programs or placements such as discipline. I know it's a consequence, but there should be something have to be-
Educational. So right now, what we have is we have the counselors, communities and schools, and the social worker go through DAP, they talk to the kids, they do their sessions. And that's helpful, and I think they give them a lot through there, but we need a thought out discipline RTI. That's what we need. We need that response to intervention on the first offense, second offense, third offense, and then after that. So what are we doing for them, not just as a punishment, but corrective action? So that's
It's a
what
big
we
ask,
really-
Ms. Vega, but I'll write it down and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
We'll
I
see what we
mean,
can do.
starting with curriculum, and then,
Yeah, no,
I mean, there are levels of curriculum, yeah.
Because are we
lots of
supposed to
needs
have?
that we still have to
Yeah.
focus on and figure out how we're going to make them happen.
Aren't we supposed to already have a transitional, like, once they get out of DP, they have a.
counselor support.
Okay. So, yeah, but by then, I mean,
Yes, by then.
by then, that's how long, there's.
So they need
Right,
weekly
and that's
with
part of the
them,
problem, is that
but
it's just all reactive.
Yeah.
How do we either in the midst of what's happening, kind of
Right.
proactively catch things or help as students are moving along through that consequence to get them in that good moment to really rewire them, reprogram them so that maybe they do come out a little bit better, a little bit more educated, a little bit aware of why they were there.
and we do have
You
the,
don't have to go back again if you don't want to.
we do have the programs that are set by the counselors to discuss dating violence, all the required programs, they
Yeah.
do all of those. But I mean, if you ask me like how that comes over, it would do a lot better if we had small groups. If we did it in small groups, it takes a lot more time. And time is something we really struggle with. We were one counselor short forever, and now we're just getting back to normal, whatever that is.
Gosh, I was over there and Marissa hadn't been over there for like maybe half a day and she was already slammed with kids. And I'm like, the campus hasn't even allowed you to come back and allowed you to like get company in your office before it's like kids are already at her door waiting to see her. It was just,
Yeah, well, that's how.
it wasn't even like half a day. And it was just because, she's been with us before and it was a returning counselor and it was like kids that found out that she was back and they were like beelining it to her room.
But
They
if you
wanted to see her.
look, all of the doors of the counselors are, like they do the little sign up with the QR code.
Is that working out, putting them in classrooms out in the hallway?
I think I mean,
That's different for me.
it is different. I think it works out okay. I like the QR codes because they can not waste time sitting there. I do like that. I think it also, depending on how they use it, now I don't know how they use theirs,
It's like a
but,
check-in sign.
but do they keep track of?
That's my next
I don't-
question to them when I meet with them next month, is how will the tracking, monitoring their data.
Yeah.
Because it's good data, but it's not going to be as good if we're not like reviewing
Responsive.
it. or-
I know in the QR codes, when they scan it, it creates a spreadsheet on the
Yes.
actual thing, so it'll show like timestamp when a kid, and they can actually go in there and say, okay, yes, I did see this
Yeah,
child.
like completed
Yes,
or,
yeah.
yeah, like done.
Now, if they're going back in and doing that, that's a different story, but I mean, they, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, but I mean, it does timestamp when the kid did send in a request to see the counselor, and then,
When
you know,
they
depending
send-
on
you
what
can
the
put it in.
counselor, yeah, depending on what the counselor puts on, like, what is it about? Is it personal issues, you know, schedules or whatever? So, but yeah, you can go back in there and do it.
And Nikki or Oscar, like, do y'all have any other kind of just, you know, just almost treat this like as a pre-warm up to the real meeting that will have the agendas and the real topics going. But as far as like just insight or just where y'all are coming from your perspective, or just a concern or possibly like something you've seen in the district where that's something that maybe if I ever had a chance to address that, I would like to, because I think it could be done better, or I think this is important, so why are we not prioritizing it, I guess, at a greater level? Is there anything like that that you guys have that might be on your mind?
I haven't seen a whole lot of negative things like that experiencing with the district, except for the one time I went to go talk to an administrator about my son being bullied. There was never a follow-up on it at all
That's
whatsoever. And that would be your original question was if there was anything that would like to be addressed, and it would be different at the grade levels, but for the intermediate level, maybe bullying, middle school level, the drugs, maybe high school level, relationships and drugs and things like that. But bullying, I think sometimes you don't look at the younger grade levels as much as the older ones, but I think that's still a big, I imagine it's a big problem. My son
It's a
experienced
big
it.
problem at all levels.
Okay. And we never had a follow-up. It was towards the end of the school year. And he's the top AR reader in the whole third grade, so he's a great kid. And he wouldn't have said anything. It wasn't really bothering him. And it was really impacting him a lot. So I felt like I needed to say something. We never really followed up.
That's
So-
good to know, because part of the protocol is the communication to the parent, whether it's a yes or a no, as far as the qualifier, was it actual bullying? The communication has to be there, because that's part of the requirement.
Sure, I was, and that, but there was a lack of communication, just with that information, I didn't know that. I knew that this child had had other complaints on him, several, my dad subs at the school, so he
Yeah.
knew.
You knew the lay of the land, and wasn't something that, yeah, it was worth the time to address it or figure out what's going
That's
on.
the only negative experience I've had in the district. I'm from here, I went here, my sister's been an employee, and my boys are in the school district, so. But I'd love to learn more about a lot of the administrative things that y'all are.
Yeah, so good insight with Ms. Baker.
And the programs and the wellness program, I was really interested in learning about. Also, safety, I'm very big on safety, and that's kind of the path that I'm looking towards after the fire department.
And that's where really the focus is going to, like a major lens of the community should be from safety, because we'll be like 1 year through, like the TA safety audits, we're having to do door checks and just those types of checks, which are new. It's not new to us, but new in the sense of us being monitored or being held accountable for those checks now. I'm dying to know what y'all really think of that, or just how that's really important.
Well, I feel like.
It's so much more work now for the campus admin to have to do those, to meet those requirements.
I mean,
It's a
we're
lot.
coming up with ours.
Yes, it's
on
an entire
Thursday.
campus now.
So the one on Thursday, I don't even know this, like, is it district-wide or is it just on campus?
See, that's the thing,
Yeah.
you're not gonna really, you can't really tell you, it's a district-wide, so they keep it open, but they're gonna target specific things.
Because they're 2 hours
Districts.
each.
Yeah.
So you can't imagine that it's every campus.
No.
So anyway, so Thursdays, we're supposed to have our audit, that is all linked, like everything. But, I feel like we're just kind of, the high school out there, the middle school out there, everybody's separate and trying to do their own thing. And I feel like, it's a lot to manage, but the consistency throughout the district, like what are we doing, how do we do it? I know every campus is different, but like is the S.H.A.C the right place to maybe provide some oversight
For sure.
of how we do safety? And if we are, then we should maybe have some expectations and presentations of what we are providing for our campuses, how we do the safety checks, what kind of door audits do we do, because it's pretty intense, everything that we do. But when you go through, like, so they have the new program. I don't even know if every campus is aware. Every administrator is not, I can tell you that. But what we have is a new program that is being taken over by TEA. It used to be just the school safety center in San Marcos. So they had it all laid out, and it's beautiful. They do some really good
Pretty
work,
impressive stuff.
and it's pretty in-depth and intense. So they have a lot provided for the schools. And TEA didn't go, oh, this is trash, we're taking over. They said, wow, this is intense. TEA really should have their hand in it. And they made a program called Sentinel.
Yeah.
And you can go in and I can put in all our stuff. But in going through that process, it's not due till next month, but why is our audit this week? If that stuff isn't due till next month, that's my first question, because I'm like trying to get it all together, right?
Yeah.
But I know it's an audit, it's just like, where are you right now? It's not like necessarily punitive, but it looks bad if you fail it, right?
Yeah, it's never good to
So-
fall off.
So going through there is like, there are so many requirements and not a lot of communication. Like, do we sit down? We have our safety meetings, but it's kind of like here and there, 3 meetings a year, 4 meetings at the most. So it's like, I think we need a, I don't know,
More
meeting
routine meeting structure.
where we
to
say,
understand
okay,
all that.
what is meant by providing, for example, just one little example, tiny little example, the AEDs. Who is monitoring
The nurses.
and double checking?
Do the nurses not communicate that?
I don't know. I mean,
Maybe.
so Patrick,
We meet and talk about all that.
but
stuff.
are they annually checking, and is there a check out risk? Is there a procedure for the district?
We check it.
To check it?
The
I said,
hospital check.
we're supposed
Well, you have
to,
the safety light on.
I'm almost positive we check those either weekly or monthly, depending on Patrick's checklist, because I know he does those.
Has expired.
Yeah.
batteries go bad.
So there's about 100 things like that we don't have, like if I don't know
In
about
writing,
it,
formal procedures
Yes.
where you can point.
because
to
it asks,
what it is.
it asks for the AED, are they being checked? And I can go, yes, click. And then please upload your policies where
Yeah.
you are
prove-
required
yeah,
to check.
yeah.
So we don't have a policy.
Yeah,
And
that is-
but when you have policy, it's like, is it board policy or is it just a school procedure?
Yeah.
So policy versus procedure, do we have it in policy? Now, the door checks are not in policy. I think that's with a purpose,
It is.
because we're not required to do it.
Not. and
Because
not
last
they're
year,
required.
if they were doing the audit and we found a door open, I don't think it was a violation of policy, so you didn't fail the audit. But that's kind of surpassing the idea of close your door,
Yeah.
because you're gonna say kids.
Right.
So like that kind of, so it's a procedure, but not a policy, but we don't have anything, right? So I can click, are we required to close the door? Yes, I require it, I send emails out. That's really all I have to put in there as far as policy or procedure, but there's nothing there. We have like 100 things like that, I could go down.
Oh, I'm sure.
And there's a practice that we are adopting, that we're doing, but I don't have anything I can put in writing, upload it.
Is everybody familiar with the AED or just the nurse? Everyone has training?
Everyone has training. Even our students are required to receive training. They get both AED and CPR training.
Okay.
And it's required by their senior year. So the AED part's newer, CPR is getting, the AED's really kind of taken effect over the last couple of years.
I'm an instructor for CPR, AED, first aid, and I stop the bleed. And we've done a lot of big other high schools, but I hadn't heard of it.
When was the last time you did Stop the Bleed?
Last school year for Veterans Memorial, we did it there. Then I teach it along with my CPR class. They're still teaching.
I know some of us are definitely for Stop the Bleed, so I might actually be circling back with you at some point about that. Yeah. That's next thing I have with the nurses to discuss their trainings for the year and where we are with some of that stuff. You're obviously right with the AEDs and then the safety checks. I'm not
Yeah.
exactly what the safeties are, but I can look into that to see just what is the plan of what we're currently doing.
Or so what would our responsibility to that, to, as far as S.H.A.C goes, maybe we just do a meeting where we meet with each, a representative, the safety person from each campus, and just ask them about what our policies and procedures.
And
So that
there's
as
stuff
a
that we can do
committee,
supportive or resource-wise to help with safety, whether it's through parent education, student programs, student activities, or just reviewing procedures versus policies to understand if there's something we need to codify or write and get kind of a different perspective or input or feedback on it. This would be a great community for all that.
or to get parent feedback on,
Yes.
you know, what do our parents see? Because we can say what we think. I mean, I spend most of my time in meetings this year, right? So how much am I really seeing versus what parents see? Especially when we're talking about like that parent code of behavior or whatever
yeah.
we're gonna adopt. You know, a parent, people act different when we're right there. They just do. When we leave, what do the parents see? Are the kids running around cursing, or are there adults cussing out of the store? You know, that kind of stuff.
So when I hear the parent code of conduct, I see that as, okay, that's got to come with some sort of training, right? Because what's the point of having a handbook if no one knows about it, or don't at least give that opportunity to come learn about it, or come learn the TM way for how we kind of want to carry ourselves professionally in a sports setting, or you know, teacher parent conference, or whatever the case may be. To me, the community pep rally is a good opportunity to kind of train, have some fan training at that experience where, yes, we're highlighting, showcasing our students, but also kind of interweaving like some opportunities to kind of explain to parents like, when this happens, here's what we do, or here's what we do, and we don't do these things when this stuff happens.
We don't boo our kids.
Yeah,
We don't.
and just starting to kind of embed that into our culture. So like after a certain point, parents just know what it is. Like if they've heard it, they've seen it, they've signed, checked the box when they buy a ticket, and they just are reinforcing that expectation kind of in the right places. Since you know, community pep rally, lots of community members, more than likely a lot of those community members will be at our games.
Right.
So what a great opportunity to kind of double up at something where you already have them. If it's 5 or 10 minutes, it's better than nothing.
Like that statement that whenever the other games, there's always a statement that they say, I think they do well. And I think they say it, they may say it at 7 o'clock.
Exactly. At that point, everyone's tuned out and it's,
Maybe.
But
I mean,
to the parent conduct piece of it, yes, running all that sports wise, but there's also feel like they do say whatever they want to you guys, and so that's
Right, we get some
hard.
wild
And if there's no
emails.
backup to that, if she says, hey, you're not allowed on campus, and then they, somewhere else, are they gonna be allowed back on campus after she said no,
Yeah.
conduct, so there has to be backup to the administration.
we do have the red cards, but do we all, but also to be fair to parents, do we all use it the same? You know, am I walking into a game where 5 games before that, it's been allowed.
You can't
And
come
then
in
I'm
and
the
do
big
the-
jerk when I
yeah.
go,
Right now, she's
red
getting
card.
and they're like, great.
And they're like, I've been doing this all
So
this
what's a color worse than red? Because we just got done doing that in the last game.
Yeah, I mean, one of the safety weaknesses, I'll just say, is that this group might be able to help with is time to train cafeteria staff, So when we do the campus stuff, there's no, and they did their best last year. They had a training for custodians and extraneous staff.
Auxiliaries.
Yes, but how specific was it? It was like, if this, then this, if this, then this. It wasn't like, when we're at the high school, so I would go in and train the cafeteria like, while they're cooking. I'm like, okay, so check this door, they have to be closed, kind of giving them the what for, but I really would like to sit down with them and go, because they're probably gonna see something first.
Of course.
They're right back there in the back. If they were to see something, would they feel like they should know who to report it to? So one of the things that we have is our Navigate 360.
Yes.
So this is another thing. I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble. We're all trying to do our best, right? But, so the Navigate 360, we have the vapes, we have the cameras, we have like a lot of stuff that we purchased. The Navigate 360, we've had it for a year, and then some.
3 years.
Well, we did the freebie the
Yeah.
first year.
I still count that year.
Yes. Well, because it should have counted, but it didn't work.
Yeah,
So I just did a Navigate 360. So what it is, I'll show it to you. It's an app where a teacher can report an emergency event. So it's this. It's just got a little.
If your phone works, yeah.
Yeah, if your phone works, and you slide and you start the emergency. So you slide it, and then you can say there's a fire. We did an intruder alert.
Okay. So it gives you like a.
I made Laura grade
legend.
the guinea pig.
Yeah.
She thought it was going to be so awesome. She's like, oh, I get to.
Oh,
But she let
we did it a bunch last year, and I was just like.
So there's several problems with it, but one of the biggest problems with anything like this is training. Like, I have not been training, and we don't know how to use it to its fullest capability. The vape detectors, we have like a wonderful product.
Yeah, they're very
It
nice.
will tell you if there's a help event, somebody's yelling help, if there's a gunshot. You can even code it to where it goes straight to police if there's fire, if they detect it. How do we test for that? And it's not, right now they are not calibrated.
But you brought up something about the custodial staff
And
and
the reps.
Don't they set it up?
That's the thing, we've got
So
to
no, you have to calibrate each one with, so they have a spray that will imitate, you don't have to go with this one, but you have the spray that
Oh,
you
come on, you're
spray.
taking the fun out of it.
I know, right?
I mean, we don't get to break.
I was
the
ready to
rules.
test
I mean,
it. So you have the spray and you spray it, and then, but you gotta do each one. So it takes some manpower to do it. We lost like
Just
so many
time,
people.
it was just manpower.
It's time
But if you
and-
don't do it, then what's the point?
Well,
Yeah,
that's the
having
thing,
it,
like.
exactly.
So-
You're not getting.
It was calibrated last year, but now we got our cameras, so now we have to calibrate it. We can calibrate with the cameras and all of that, but we're short-staffed with our IT department as it is. We're not getting to the teachers as it is, they're trying, they're working their butts off back there.
Like for the gunshots, like that should be calibrated.
Right.
automatically.
Right, yes.
Well, yeah, I mean,
That should-
that's one of those first things, but it's just like any other instrument, you've got to calibrate it and actually keep it in calibration.
Our cameras are
standards
top
and
notch.
stuff like
They're-
that, but.
They're great, but we're just getting them up and running. So we've got to get,
But the people, back to your point of, making sure that all of our people are aware of the safety issues. So I know one of the things that when I first kind of started, it was, okay, I had a couple of custodial staff just let me in. And I'm like, okay, but there was a language issue. So whatever training we do, we need to make sure that we're at least offering it in Spanish and English, I think, for some of our folks especially. And I know that we're doing that, but I agree with you
But
on
it's-
making sure that, especially on like those, like safety audit kind of things, is that everybody knows you can't just leave the door open. And because do our middle schoolers have IDs? Do our middle schoolers have?
They
They're
have
not
some
required to
last
learn.
year, but they're not required to.
Okay, but how do what visual thing do our custodial staff know? Are you a kid that's even supposed to be here?
Yeah.
Are you an adult that's even supposed to be here? You know, because you could walk in and you're a parent, yeah, but if our custodians are wonderful, but they're just trying to be polite, but at the same time.
Part of that is
Yeah.
cultural, right?
Right, no, and I know that, but again, I think, I agree with you.
Just
I
have to
think
educate.
it's just an education thing and just making sure that we're all on the same page, you know, and how, and our parents needing to recognize and understand, that does go back to that parent conduct thing, is to say, just because you're a parent, doesn't mean you get to go anywhere you want to go.
Or a specific parent, or a specific somebody.
Or you have to go through.
Specific parent.
Well, no, and that's what I'm saying, parents, yeah.
Exactly.
They've seen you a lot because you're here
I
on.
wouldn't want them to open the, that's even like, so Dr. White came to the door, and
Yeah,
I
that's a
got
good
up
preview
and I sat
example.
back down.
Yep.
Because I did not want to be responsible for letting him do it. I almost did it with him as well. And I'm like, I knew they were here for that meeting, and I sat down and didn't do it.
Yeah.
It takes that training.
Yep.
Right, but
You have to
just
tell
to,
yourself, don't get
Don't
up,
open that.
and it's gonna look rude, but it's because it's a
Right.
safety.
I mean, he'll be out there
Right.
for a minute, get his keys out of his pocket, but I even told him I was gonna open the door for you.
It's taking some time to get that to happen at the high school too.
Yeah.
Because that's what I
It's always the
told
longest at the
them,
high
those
school.
clear doors, it is so hard for the kids to look somebody in the eye and
and
go.
go,
Or
It's
do it, or
almost
do
like-
it.
and it's almost
can't do it.
impossible, they can't do it.
That's why I told
It really
them,
is.
that's
Something
need to have
about
the film.
Well,
Well, I
yeah,
can't,
I know.
they need to
if
have
it were me
the,
and you, I'd be like,
I'm letting you in, or I'm gonna yell and scream at you,
yeah,
but
like,
like,
why,
you know,
okay, I
spray
know
the
it's
camera
him.
and let you in,
Right.
and, you know, when the dust
yeah,
settles.
but if we have that, what is it, that film that you can only see out, you can't see
You just
in,
keep going
or-
about your business. It makes
Yeah.
it a little bit more doable.
Yeah,
That's what I told them.
no, I
I
agree
guess
with
like
that,
that,
it's
like the
like,
interrogation film.
yeah,
where
yeah,
the one-way
it's like
only.
the one-way sidelines.
But we can't raise our kids with good manners and then tell them to ignore it.
Right, yeah, exactly.
We've got to just protect them by putting that film over it so that they don't have to.
They don't see it.
They don't
They're
see
just
it,
like, they
yeah.
just know, they,
Right.
It'll make it
Yeah.
much more difficult.
well, because when they see, when they're like,
I know.
Right,
It's such
and
a,
or, you
and I
know,
feel bad too, because that, you know, for me to let a kid
because
in.
then if you send them the other way, they're walking 10 minutes to the front, and yeah, it's like, it plays on.
And we do it.
Well,
at the
and
high
all of our
school.
staff should already knows, I mean, we all get emails, you can only go through door 1 or door 9, like,
Well,
or
right.
any other doors, whatever.
Yeah. Used to be, Miss Woggle, they would call her room and she'd go open the door. Like,
Right.
Yeah, back in the day.
I was like,
right?
you gotta stop me
If
with
there's
that.
an emergency, next time we go in, is everyone under the understanding that you can let in first responders, or is that also?
See,
No, first responders, yeah.
I'm-
Maybe you're in
I'm
uniform.
90% sure we're good if the uniform is there and we're aware of that emergency need, but I'd like to think that y'all at least have gotten that training, right?
Yeah, well, we have, but see, that's another thing that I
Right.
wish I could be,
Exactly.
a good
Yeah.
oversight to say.
I mean,
like,
y'all, the first responders, y'all have
formally
access to,
trained on.
are supposed
If
to.
you ask me what we
But-
wanted to train on,
But that does bring up a
Very-
question.
my safety committee has some training with the threat assessment, you know, me and
Yeah,
Amanda
we
and
need more
Patrick would,
formalized
but
district.
I go around the whole building, I'm like, close the door, gotta lock the door, gotta keep this door. You go, don't do this, report, you see something, say something. But we still have incidents that happen that I'm like, why would you not call me? Why would you not get on the radio? I need an administrator. That was what needs. So like we've hired security people.
Right.
So I'm not knocking our security personnel that we just hired. So have we done training? Yeah. Okay.
Probably not.
They're super diligent, like they're running around trying to, you know, do everything. But the security guy is sitting on the bench. He sat right there. I walked past him, I walked up to him. He still didn't look up. He's on his phone, he doesn't look up. That's what I said. Fire this guy, let's get to other people.
Are they a private security or
It's
CCTV?
private, no.
And that's
And
part of
he
too,
just-
what we can talk about the job description with them, to really figure out if there are things that we want to make sure are
This would
happening.
be
I mean, they're not securing an empty warehouse, it's a
Right.
building full of
Yeah.
nice people that we're supposed to
Yeah.
keep
That
alive.
doesn't
Yeah.
look hard.
You know, going back to.
But Patrick can't do everything. But we can kind of come up with who's expected to do what.
Exactly.
And if we hire
Yes.
security,
Yes.
we want them to do
Like
X,
a
Y,
decision-making
Z.
tree with the person's responsible and.
Yeah.
Like, we can say, we want our security people, whoever is sitting at that door waiting for the high school, to, number one, not be on their phone. That means if you can't hire somebody who can't do that, then what do we need it for? We don't want somebody, that should be just a breach, you don't do that. You don't sit there looking at your phone while something's happening.
Well, we don't get that for our kids, so.
You don't know what's
So,
happening.
so that's the whole thing about hiring outside. We can hire outside people, but we have to have our standard imposed on them. And if they want the job, that's what we want.
Is there a reason it's a private company and not a CCTV?
Well,
Good question.
so
It's
cheaper.
It's
It's cheaper, but I'll tell
different,
you,
but that's the thing, quality
that-
and price, you kind of do get what you pay for a little bit.
Especially in this, because fortunately, a lot of the private security officers and the private EMS workers are people who could get into the
Right.
city.
but I'll tell you, we hired, 2 people and they are not security. They are our security, but they're not secure.
Yeah, they don't have a
Trained.
background or.
So this guy sitting on the bench just looked at his phone while something actually happened today. It wasn't an actual emergency, but they thought it was a potential emergency. Our guys that are running the hall ran out there, approached the person, did they do it right? No. Is that where we need to train? Yes, that's what we did. Be on their phone.
But they
But
didn't
he was
sit
not-
down on their
They are
phone.
never on their phones, they're always diligent. But the guy sitting there on his phone just like, what good were
I
you?
feel like that's the standard where we can at least say, we're not going to allow that to be the standard, we're going to hire standards.
Yeah, we have to have something. And they have to be written down, and we're gonna follow them on every campus. So that if I walk into the middle school campus, I go, oh, that's not supposed to be happening.
Yes.
If they walk onto our campus, they can say, hey, they go, that guy's not doing what they're supposed to do. That kind of thing. I think we should have the same expectations.
Oh, we have the officers,
Yeah,
we have
Oh,
police
it's like,
officers.
Yeah.
It's like- No,
That's what's different, 'cause
I'm
that's
thinking
more-
of non-police officer ones, I'm thinking
Yeah.
of,
Not
like,
more.
I mean, we have our
private
police officers,
security
but We have our guys that go around and
Yeah,
check
sorry,
doors.
duh, because I just saw one or two of them
Yeah.
right there. Hi, he's from,
You're next door? Jim?
Jim, yes. Thank you.
Basketball?
what's going on?
There, I
It
guess,
should be a grand Tuesday.
I know, but the only one I saw was the basketball.
Probably Baltimore.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
but, yeah,
so
but
back
that's.
to the ICs, we had a meeting last year for the kiddos, and I don't know how the kiddos even got them, but what was the purpose of that? Like what?
My people were parents like on the last week.
What?
Somebody had them.
Yeah, they passed on like the last week of school, but I mean, what was the purpose of it?
What, and what is the philosophy behind us or not doing this?
What?
Because I know where the district where my
yeah.
girls go to school at, they have their ID badges and they have to have them every day. Like
Right.
they can't even go into the
I've
cafeteria
never-
without it.
Exactly.
And if you forget it, they have to call home, or if you lose it, you have to pay $2 to replace it.
Yeah.
Like my daughter, I mean, this is her, I guess, 3rd week of middle school, she's in grade now. And she was like, Mom, where's my ID? I'm gonna get in trouble. And like she was freaking out and she wanted to follow the rules, but I'm just like, how would we implement that here?
Very difficult.
Because, I mean, you're gonna have a group of kids, they're gonna forget it, they're gonna lose it.
Oh, yeah.
Every
No, but I
day,
mean, I've
so.
even been on elementary, I've even been on elementary campuses.
Yeah.
That every kid, you can't even get into the building without it.
It's part of your dress code.
It just
Yeah,
takes-
it's part of
So
your
would
dress
that
code.
would be something that would be put into the parent
Change the
contact
culture.
too, like, hey, your kid needs to have their ID.
Yeah.
Right.
And here's what happens when they don't have that.
You meet the teacher, you get one of those papers, I got a bunch of papers, I get the teacher, one of those is parent code of conduct.
Exactly.
You have to try to take it.
And it's almost like, now that we have you here at Meet the Teacher, let's all stop, drop, and take 15 minutes to have a whole group, quick chit chat about the parent code of conduct that's due for this year. And it's almost like,
They did it at the primary, used to be the teacher. That was the
And
first time we had to sit down and listen to
do it.
really
Something
talk
that's
first
better
before we could go.
Yeah, I mean, we don't.
It's not our parents, yeah.
yeah, as
I mean,
you move up the
Yeah,
campus
dri-
level, it's
when-
less and less. But
Yeah.
I definitely like what you said about having that kind of whole group touch base for that. And if needed, I feel like we just need to do as much of that as often as we can in the areas we're talking about, particularly at the high school. And just try to increase the level of involvement with that.
Yeah.
different level of
But the ID badge thing is a challenge.
There's too much.
Even in
The
addition
shack
to where
codes.
it's super complicated.
Well,
It
I
sounds
guess
like
we can
it's
say
overwhelming
we
to
can
do
pick and
safety
choose.
and
Yeah.
health
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Well,
and
there is a
sexual
lot.
curriculum.
It's a
like,
lot.
It's a lot.
It is a lot, the only thing is the lack of participation, because the people that are complaining first are the people that don't show up.
Don't
And I
trust
said
it.
that on camera, right?
But if we don't have, if we,
So,
I
that's
mean,
the
we have to
unfortunate
at
part
least
of
try
it.
to have something in place because like you said, the ones that are gonna be the biggest breakers of the rules,
Yes.
you know, are the ones that don't show up for the things that we ask them and.
Yeah, and it affects the rest of the ones that are willing to follow the protocols
Yeah,
and safety
and
procedures.
participate.
And their kids are the ones that are into sports, and then they,
Or if there's no consequence.
oh, there's no
Yeah,
consequence.
there's no real meter.
Or all I have to do is go to the news or.
Yeah,
go loud
exactly.
enough,
So everyone needs to
and
go
then I'm gonna get what I want.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's a cultural shift, but I think in this, I think there is at least a recognition of, from a safety perspective, there's not a single parent here who, if you say the word evolve,
Exactly. You have to message it and communicate
you know,
it.
that they're not gonna say, oh, I wanna protect, I wanna make sure that the school's taking care of my kid, and that includes me helping take care of my kid. I find it hard to believe that any parent would say, yes, I am on the same team as the school in trying to help protect my kid. And I would question any parent that said, screw the school, you know, I don't care about my kid. Does that make sense?
It is not so much that they don't, it's not that
And
they're
they
letting
don't
it,
care.
it's more
It's
of
like-
like, it's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen to me, right, but we can't, that's the part we have to change.
Yeah.
It's going to happen everywhere. That's the cultural shift. It hasn't happened
And
yet.
let's keep it that way.
Let's try to keep it that way by doing these things.
Right.
Well, and I think it's overwhelming if you were to try to tackle it all, just kind of like.
Oh, yeah.
All the sentinel and the changes and everything that we have to report. But maybe we just started with one simple night, one
Exactly.
simple project. Maybe we do a rep from each campus come in and present what they do have. What are the highlights? What are you doing positively to impact your campus?
What's a glow
So it's
or what's
not
a
negative.
glow?
Yeah, and then what's one thing that you need support with? So then we find out where we feel each campus has a weakness, and then we can work from 5 weaknesses.
Exactly.
We can help 5 campuses
Yeah, a little
with
mini needs
one-
assessment will do.
what a weakness, and what can we do to help? Maybe there's not anything that, we're bringing it to light, and now maybe they can go back and go, oh, that is something I'm going to look up for next week. And then maybe annually we hear
Yeah.
from each campus and kind of see, look, last year you said this and this, how is it working out? Is it improving?
We can do, if we want to have a rotation on certain folks to come and be able to kind
Yeah,
of give
when
their
we're meeting.
yearly or kind of just summary of where they are, where they're going. It could be from the counselors, the nurses, the librarians, it could be anything related to S.H.A.C or the topics. And if we're wanting a specific voice to be heard from, and we want it to be applied from all the campuses, that can just be something that as we build the agendas through the year, we can talk about, okay, well, on this agenda, we'd love to hear from the counselors on these topics. So representatives, they'll come and they can, give their 15, 20 minutes and ask questions and just give more of an insight as to how S.H.A.C can provide support to each of those departments.
And also just a little bit of oversight, because when you know that you can present, on the road, I'm
Accountability
gonna,
there.
yeah, I'm gonna make sure that also I can show you something that maybe you didn't know about on campus, or make you feel a little bit more comfortable that your kids are in a place that people care about safety, and where we're doing some proactive things. You know, because we don't really know. We're doing, I don't know, we're paying attention, you know,
Surely
is she
there's
doing,
more to Muskegon than just being mean.
you know,
Surely.
but is she keeping our kids, you know? Yeah,
Right.
and at least a little.
And you're right. I shouldn't have said don't care. It's that, it's that apathy. It's
There it
that
is.
Also,
apathy.
I'm not-
It's that- Yeah.
Yep.
What does that mean? Ignorance is bliss or?
Yeah, exactly, but
It can be,
it
right?
can be, but,
All right, guys, you can believe it, it's almost 6 o'clock. So what we'll do is kind of start closing things out. I love the conversation. I feel like I'm ready for October already to really start this school year off on the right foot. I will kind of pitch to you guys at some point, once the agenda is ready, I'll get it sent to you guys for review. If you want to add or just having anything to talk about, we can. And then I'll probably recommend at least one department to start us off for the year to come and talk to us about some of those topics that will be listed. So just be on the heads up in the next week or two for an email from me with that agenda, just that insight into what October's first week will look like. And then, of course, what will happen from here is we've done the 2 public hearings. There is no comments, so the recommendation based on the S.H.A.C's kind of initial recommendation to just continue moving forward. The next step is at the September 16th board meeting. This recommendation will be an agenda item for the board to review, and hopefully at that point, all they have to do is discuss and approve. And then once it's board approved, from there, we can officially announce, and I can share with the district kind of the curriculum, we'll post on the website, and just make it available. And then hopefully at the October meeting, we can ask our rep to come and kind of give us some insight into what that will look like for us in the year.
We'll work on that, so we can schedule it.
That'd be awesome.
Officer said he could also be there at the meeting to
Yeah,
talk
that'd be
about
great.
education.
And then kind of just bring it all into play in the year and kind of space it out after we touch base for the first time of the year. I think it sounds like a really good plan. See, are we getting better at this?
Okay.
I think maybe.
Before, we were talking about a DAP curriculum, so I reached out to somebody that did DAP at a different district. So they have a program that's Ingenuity.
Oh, yeah, ingenuity.
So
That's
it's
like
a social
their-
emotional lesson that they have to do daily. So I don't know if that's.
Can you get more into how they're using that as part of ingenuity? Because ingenuity is like Apex.
Right, just.
Right.
But they currently have this little social emotional thing built in. I don't know if Apex has that built in, and if it doesn't, then I want to either build that in ourselves or look at ingenuity and understand is there something like that.
No, 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 you're thinking
Okay.
From our Apex.
that's the accident.
Because Apex and ingenuity are definitely.
So that's the one down under.
yeah, and,
Budget.
We moved it off campus right here.
So that's something that she,
Just
she,
so.
Yeah, I can see that because they've been doing Apex
I know that
with the
ICD
PCL piece.
I know that ICD has
It's the
social
biggest
emotional.
trouble.
And then I think at this point,
I know that ICED, it's a high school.
It's like
but
a
it's
CTE.
It's a CTE
Oh,
curriculum.
okay.
But I mean, I'm just know we have that available. But, I mean, it's been.
because I know my district brought in people from, somewhere, I want to say
ACC,
from
it's an accelerated campus. It's
didn't
for
say that.
at-risk.
Oh. But she did, that's what she used to was to come do the
At
therapy
risk
lessons
for
for the
drug
and that was, but it wasn't mandatory, it wasn't
So you
strictly,
gotta
it's not.
make it-
It's
Yeah.
about 40 kids.
Well, and like you said, the recovery.
It's a good one.
So I just don't want to.
Yeah, that's where you do
Here, the last 2
exactly.
weeks for about 11 hours.
And they do a lot of good stuff.
Maybe I think that credit recovery thing could be almost ongoing.
oh, yeah, it has to.
Yeah.
But,
Like when we have our PNB, engagement meetings or our Title I meetings or whatever, like if parents show up or if their kid shows up, then they can use those hours.
yeah.
I think that would definitely help build this capacity of parents.
We did have parents involved, so I feel like those parents are the parents that need to be involved, or maybe they just don't know how to be
Well,
involved.
I know that
Those
we
are
experienced
things
a lot of that.
Yeah.
We experienced a lot of that. convenient, but a lot of them, I know, they all work.
And a lot of them have to be bilingual.
Bilingual, exactly. That was
I
a
mean, we did our
big,
Title III meeting
huge
today, and it was
barrier.
one of those things where like it's an eye opener. Yeah, you're right. We do
You have to
have,
have that bilingual.
because parents are.
Can't go any longer without having that. Did it go with this?
It's a lot of info, so just so about plate, yes. A lot, but yes,
We'll talk.
we will do it.
We will talk about it. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm just back on maybe what she said. She's like, it's all refreshing, just for the shine. So it is.
That's almost why I want to educate parents on, like, just, do parents know how much we do? How much we're asked to do?
No, no.
And it, like, never,
No idea.
ever.
No, we don't do our jobs correctly. Right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows that, but like, you can understand how much we do. We don't do it right, but.
Well, I think all of us
It's like,
need,
you know
I think
what?
all of us need like a parent, a homeroom parent, even for each of our teachers. I was teaching
Shared
a
empathy.
small, yeah. Well,
Like,
but
we can
having
empathize
that-
with their situation
having
and
that
how tough
parent
it is for them
contact
and vice
I mean,
versa.
I tell my parents, I tell all my parents, you're welcome in my classroom anytime. If you want to come hang out and just to kind of see, because I've had a couple of them that'll be like, oh, wow, this, you, can I clean that up for you? Because I see you're so, I'm like, I love it. I love that help. I even had a parent, one of my kids forever ago, that her son, she knew how much her, of a handful her son was. And she had her own business, so she could set her own hours. I mean, she was really fortunate, but she was amazing. She was like, can I just come in and sit with you and help you in anything? Can I be your lackey, basically, is what she said. And for 3 years, because I taught her son in 6th, 7th, and 8th, because I was the whole thing. She was there every day. I mean, she became my manager, my science manager. But it was amazing because then she would go talk to parents and other parents of the kids. It was like, you know, so maybe if we could figure out how to form that parent-teacher or parent administrator or parent, you know, contact of somebody. Would you come shadow us?
Yeah, that's a shadow mentoring opportunity,
A
like
shadow
where we
mentoring
designate a day
Yeah,
and
and just-
parents that want to come shadow or learn from the teacher, learn from the administrator.
Just to
learn
see
from
what's
the
going
parent.
on, not necessarily.
It's very interesting. It's almost like reverse, take your kid to work day.
Yeah.
Let's take your parents to school day. I like that.
Different
Let's go back to
campuses
school.
with different teachers, you
Parents
know,
would be so
and different.
A lot of the
but
things
yeah.
that parents would be like, because I have to, sometimes I have to parent parents. Like, call
Yeah.
them about their kid or whatever it is. Or it's, oh, my kid didn't do that, or my kid never does anything wrong.
They just need to go and skip the years.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things.
No, I get it, but you know, it's just, I know it's a thought, it's very far-fetched, but it is one of
Well, I like
those
it.
things that I've always said. You're welcome in my classroom anytime. Come in and see. If you really want to know, because I know your kid will react better if you're here, maybe. But it's more of a, just so you have a better understanding of what we are trying to do, what we're tasked with doing every day that is more than just.
And that's how barriers and walls come down and relationships can be built better.
Surprised we have video that I saw
Right.
my mom when she went to.
Even moving campus, even to have to come in late one day, or a new, you know, they all look in there, because they haven't seen the position it takes. The primary education.
Just to facilitate.
Just to move
To
them
even
from.
have a 10-minute schedule change of what that entirely looks
Yes.
like to.
Not coordination needed to do that every day is crazy.
I mean, they're thinking that from family perspective versus, well, moving 800 to 1,000 kids.
Yeah.
How do we make that happen?
Yeah, just the simple logistics of what's going on in the
And to me, sometimes seeing is believing until you see it and understand what that actually visually looks like. For us, it's like you can't understand the magnitude or just what that really looks like or how that
Especially
works.
now, I mean, so much is just, keeps coming on, and I know our parents want us to be successful and get to be successful.
Yeah.
But
That's
how
why
much are
I'm
they
so-
willing to help make them successful? or help us?
No, you know, I just, yeah, I know, that's where the challenge comes in, that's where the challenge comes in.
One thing I'll say, and I'll be done for tonight, is the metal detectors. I am so impressed with the just the district-wide ability to have implemented those and to make those things almost like you don't even know about them anymore. Because either it's like the systems in place are so
They're
well
used to
run,
it.
Yeah, of course, anything that's gonna be new or something like that that's imposing is gonna be received somewhat negatively by some at least, but I'd say within the first week, all that dissipated, went away, and now we just think it's a good thing.
The kids are
Like,
faster coming
yeah,
in now,
it's just
so
like
they
that's-
know what
They
to
already
take out of their
That to
backpack.
me is the example of how we can change the culture. If we just stick to what we need to
Oh, I
do,
know.
and we have to
Yeah.
prioritize that need, because it takes work.
And it's a
in
no,
place now.
it's not a question.
Yeah. That's what we do.
Yeah, it's what we do. Same
I mean, you have to go through
Same thing with
security
the-
and those professional,
It will
Exactly.
take,
I mean, professional sporting events
it
now.
kind of takes a while, like if they have.
Exactly.
If they had to use it for lunch, they had to take, swipe,
Mhm.
That's
they
fine.
had to,
That's another thing that they use that for the school too.
if they
Yeah,
had to swipe
yeah,
to go in and out of class.
That's what
or
we're,
just swipe it,
we
Yep.
only move to IDs if we build in the accountability for
You have to
usage
have a
of it.
Because
Oh,
if
yeah.
I just need it just to appease, that's not in our today's society. Nobody's
It needs to be able to do 4 or 5 different things for the student, where if they don't have it,
Needs to be
they won't feel it to be a
Very
yes, it's like
Yeah.
losing your wallet. Like, you don't lose your wallet, because if you do, you
Yeah.
are gonna be, like, we don't lose this every day, and this thing moves more than any day.
You should shadow me and see how many times I use my
Oh,
phone.
Yeah, they say the kids don't.
No, it doesn't.
Our kids have two phones. When they turn in and when they hold in.
Uh-huh.
No, the office already knows. Like if I leave, they're like, "Crystal, do you have your phone? Do you have your keys?" And I'm like,
I do that every time.
They just.
Like,
There you
every time
go.
they go people.
I tell my kids, all right, this is your phone free, do your body check.
In the restroom.
I can't say my grandma because they don't know. They don't know. But I say, do your body check, do your body check, do you have your phone?
yeah, they already know it's my phone. If they see it, they're like,
As soon as I saw something, I was like ready to flag, tossing to like the lost and found, and all the teachers that had trained me, they were like, no, you have to wait at least 5 minutes, because once that student realizes they don't have what they need, they'll be right back to go get
Yep.
it. And it was so true, like it took them 5 or 6
Yeah, maybe
minutes,
we need
and
to
then
do
boom, they
the-
went right back to get
no,
it.
my problem is I don't remember where I left it.
See,
So I can't even go back 5 minutes
that's
later.
not cool,
Okay.
it's there.
Air tags.
One of your,
Oh, yeah.
I know your.
Air tag every kid's
One of
phone.
the-
Yeah.
So one of the things that hasn't been done in forever is the intruder, safety drill.
Oh,
And-
gosh.
and-
That's because that terrifies everybody.
Yes, but it has, it's a requirement. And it involves the police, the fire department.
I'm gonna write that down.
If we,
Yeah, it's like,
We-
it's
oh,
a
yeah.
really good, but it does terrify staff.
if we could facilitate, because what they did in the bigger schools, so what they do is they do it on a non-secure
Right,
day.
but just say, yeah.
And they
No, I-
volunteer
I-
teachers.
Yeah.
And the teachers volunteer